This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
(8:45 p.m.) This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news, edited by Lakshman Fonseca and read by Mario Vijayavardhana. The headlines. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena plans to deploy 200 electric buses into operation in the Western Province. The Met Department has issued another advisory for heavy rain. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority says tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka have crossed the 900,000 mark. The National Dengue Control Unit warns that the spread of dengue may further rise due to the prevailing showers. The world's largest shipping companies, Fast Shipping, agrees to provide employment opportunities for young Sri Lankan sailors. The Israeli Prime Minister wants immediate deportation of Eritreans after Tel Aviv violence. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena has instructed the Sri Lanka Transport Board, the SLTB, to issue Notices of Expressions of Interest, EOIs, for deploying 200 electric buses into operation in the Western Province. The minister said cabinet approval was recently granted to launch 200 electric buses in the Western Province. For the first time in history, the Cabinet has given approval for the procurement of 50 electric buses as a public-private partnership project to run on behalf of the Sri Lanka Transport Board covering the Western Province. The minister said that according to feasibility studies, such a project was not compatible with the investment cost and investment method. The Cabinet approval for a project comprising of 200 electric buses was received later. The Met Department has issued another advisory for heavy rain in the Western and Sabaragama provinces and the Galla, Matara and Nuwara Eliya districts for the period until 8:30 a.m. tomorrow. The Met Department warns the prevailing showery conditions in the southwestern part of the island are likely to continue further due to the active southwest monsoon conditions over the island. The department added heavy showers above 100 millimeters are likely at some places in the Western and Sabaragama provinces and in the Galla, Matara and Nuwara Eliya districts. Meanwhile, the National Building Research Organisation, the NBRO, has also issued an amber-level landslide early warning for several areas in 3 districts, the Kalutara, Kagalla and Ratnapura districts. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority, SLTDA, says tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka crossed the 900,000 mark this year on the 30th of August. The SLTDA said 900,708 tourists arrived in the country so far this year. The SLTDA said it is an increase against 719,978 total arrivals reported for the entire year of 2022. According to the SLTDA, Sri Lanka's tourism industry is aimed to attract 2 million visitors in 2023. The SLTDA also said tourism has suffered a setback due to the COVID-19 pandemic and the economic and political crises in the island, and the situation is gradually increasing today. The National Dengue Control Unit warns that the spread of dengue may further rise due to the prevailing showers across Sri Lanka. The director of the Dengue Control Unit, Nalin Aryaratna, said plans are in place to implement dengue control programs at a village level, and over 62,000 cases of dengue have been reported so far in 2023. He said the total number of dengue cases now stands at 62,029. A majority of the cases were reported from the Western Province. This number stands at 30,271. The National Dengue Control Unit also reveals that 38 people have died due to dengue in 2023. The Ports, Shipping and Aviation Minister Nimal Siripal de Silva says one of the world's largest shipping companies, Fast Shipping, has agreed to provide employment opportunities for Sri Lankan trained seafarers. He made these remarks when a delegation from Fast Shipping, including its managing director Yu Yong-jen, met the minister at his office yesterday. Yu Yong-jen said many Sri Lankan trained young sailors can be given job opportunities in his company located in China. He added there will be long discussions with stakeholders involved in the naval sector of Sri Lanka regarding the recruitment methods. Jen further said his company is willing to hire young people who have graduated from naval training institutes in Sri Lanka for on-the-job training and then hire them for permanent service.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmaya.
The Sri Lanka Forestry Institute, built according to international standards, was officially opened yesterday in the Sadatana area of Nuwara Eliya. It was declared by the Minister of Wildlife and Forest Conservation, Pavitra Baniyarachchi. The Ministry of Wildlife and Forest said the institute was built with an area of 53 hectares and with a cost of 1,500 million rupees. The ministry added both local and international wildlife and environment enthusiasts can receive training in this forestry institute. The compound consists of 17 official quarters, a sports hall, a dormitory that can accommodate 80 people, a canteen with 150 at a time, an auditorium, an administrative building, lecture hall facilities, a library, a parking lot, and many other facilities, the ministry said.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmaya.
And now in Watchlight, the Ministry of Health confirms only 2 meningococcal infections have been reported thus far. The ministry says that the tests carried out by the Medical Research Institute has confirmed only 2 infections have been reported thus far, of which 1 was reported in Galla. Speaking in this regard, the Director General of Health Services, Dr. Asela Gunawardena, refuted recent media reports claiming that the bacterial infection had spread across the Colombo district. Dr. Gunawardena explains that while 1 infection was reported from within the Galle prison, the other infection was reported from Colombo. The second patient has been identified as a resident of Jayala and is currently receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Dr. Gunawardena also said that the patient is recovering well.
World News, brought to you by courtesy of
Say no more to moving and paying rent. Get a home loan from Commercial Bank at the lowest interest rate and get a home of your own.
Which bata are you in now?
In Javatta, in my own house.
In world news headlines, the Israeli Prime Minister wants immediate deportation of Eritreans after Tel Aviv violence. Japan to seek more international support and understanding about treated water release. Hollywood Actors Union in the US is looking to authorize a second strike against major video game companies. Israel is considering tough steps, including the immediate deportation of Eritrean asylum seekers involved in riots in Tel Aviv on Saturday. Some 170 people were injured in violent clashes with the police and in fighting between groups of supporters and opponents of the Eritrean regime. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said a red line had been crossed. He also ordered a new plan to remove all African migrants that he described as illegal infiltrators. Saturday's unprecedented disorder began after activists opposed the Eritrean government said that they had asked Israeli authorities to cancel an event organized by their country's embassy. They broke through a police barricade around the venue, which was then vandalized. Police in riot gear fired tear gas, stun grenades and live rounds as officers on horseback tried to push the protesters away. An investigation has been opened into whether the use of live fire was within the law. Japan's government is stepping up efforts to gain more international support and understanding about the release of treated and diluted water from the crippled Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant into the sea. The move comes as China has reacted sharply to the release and suspended all imports of Japanese seafood. The Japanese government plans to take opportunities at all levels, including through meetings with foreign dignitaries and international conferences, to provide information and explanations about the water release. The Foreign Ministry told senior officials of other group of 7 nations during a video conference on Thursday that Japan has been continuing to publicize monitoring data in a timely manner after the discharge started on the 24th of August. The Foreign Ministry also issued a statement on Friday rebutting comments by the Chinese embassy in Tokyo about the water release. The ministry said they were not based on scientific evidence. Prime Minister Kishida Fumio plans to explain Japan's position on the water discharge when he attends summit meetings of the Association of Southeast Asian Nations and the Group of 20 Economies later this month. The union representing actors in the US is looking to authorize a second strike against major video game companies. Talks between SAG-AFTRA and companies like Activision and Electronic Arts have reached a stalemate, the union said on Friday, particularly on wage increases and artificial intelligence. Hollywood actors have been on strike since the 13th of July against major TV and film companies. A spokesperson for the game firm said both sides were seeking a fair deal. In its Friday announcement, the union said it had been asking video game companies for an 11% increase in rates paid to video game performers of 11% increases. They also are asking for protections from AI, which they say poses a threat to the future of artists' work and careers as well as better working conditions. The union, which represents 160,000 people in the entertainment industry, has a separate contract with major video game companies that was due to expire in November. It was extended by a year, however, to allow talks to continue. And now the main points of the World News segment once again. The Israeli Prime Minister wants immediate deportation of Eritreans after Tel Aviv violence. Japan to seek more international support, understanding about treated water release. Hollywood Actors Union in the US is looking to authorize a second strike against major video game companies.
World News. Brought to you by courtesy of...
This message is for all the kids between the ages of 4 and 16 who love to draw. Commercial Bank's Arunalu Sittam is back once again. This time, the competition is also open to Sri Lankan kids currently living abroad. First, second and third place prizes will be awarded along with special merit and merit certificates. For more information, visit the Commercial Bank website. We have so many prizes to be won.
Development News is brought to you by
Job opportunities for well-experienced housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia and Kuwait for ages 40 to 58 years. Salary 125,000 rupees. Contact 037 7500 500.
A circular is due to be issued shortly restricting school children bringing in devices such as mobile phones and tabs to schools. The Education Minister Susil Premajan said that there was no requirement to bring in such devices now. The minister said a recent UNESCO report too has been released on the use of technology for education. He said the report had recommended that technology should be introduced into education on the basis of evidence showing that it would be appropriate, equitable, scalable and sustainable.
Job opportunities for women from Deshakti Lanka in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait and Oman. Housemaids and home cooks in Saudi Arabia, ages 40 to 58 years. Arabic speaking and well experienced home cooks. Salary 135,000 rupees. Interviews are now on with foreign agents. You can travel overseas free of charge now. Branches Colombo, Kurunegala, Anuradhapura and Matara. Contact number 037 7500 500. Deshakti Lanka Foreign Employment Agency.
And now in sports news, the Asian Cricket Council is currently deliberating a potential change in the venue for the Super 4 stages of the Asia Cup due to the persistent heavy rainfall in Colombo, according to the report by the Indian Express. The participating teams have been informed about the unfavourable weather conditions in Sri Lanka's capital. As a result, the Pallekele and Dambulla areas are being considered as a viable alternative to locations. While the first match in Colombo is scheduled for the 9th of September, the ACC is expressing concern about the bleak weather forecasts. With 2 more matches still to be played in Pakistan, the ACC is expected to make a final decision on the venue within the next 24 to 48 hours. Meanwhile, the ACC's decision to organise the Asia Cup during the rainy season in Sri Lanka has drawn significant criticism.
Go ekatiyana youth ekat life eke change ekat niyameta set wenna as wahagena dagapu hina habe karanna youth ekat niyameta set wenna friendship eka menna.
The all-new NSB Ithru account, NSB IAM, a plan for your dream.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
The Industry 2023 exhibition Jaffna edition is now being conducted at the Jaffna Cultural Centre. Minister Douglas Devananda said the exhibition was conducted to enforce the export-oriented production economy in the north. This exhibition opened yesterday and will be held till Monday the 3rd from 9 in the morning to 9 at night. The exhibition is jointly implemented by the Lanka Industrial Development Board and the Ministry of Industry. Participating at the event, the Western Provincial Director of the Ceylon Industrial Development Board, Mr. Srimal Jayatilaka, said that the exhibition will consist of 300 stalls covering 21 fields to encourage industrialists in the north and north-central provinces. He further stated that it is expected to create a culture of entrepreneurship through such exhibitions throughout the island.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
Go ekak tiyana youth eකට life එකේ change එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න ඇස් වහගෙන දැකපු හින හැබැ කරන්න youth එකට නියමෙට set වෙන්න friendship එක මෙන්න.
The all-new NSB Ithru Mithru account, NSB IM, a plan for your dream.
And now in economic news, the Sri Lanka Planters Association says that there is more support for a new wage model which can boost worker earnings and output. The association said under the revenue share model, a worker is assigned a plot of tea which can be plucked at any time they wish, any supervision, and their earnings go up based on the weight of the plucked weight. The association added staff has increased output from 18 kilograms to 24, where the model has been tried out and earnings have exceeded 65,000 rupees. The media spokesperson at the Sri Lanka Planters Association, Roshan Rajature, said several plantations that have already implemented this system have witnessed remarkable progress, with workers earning 2 to 3 times the wage they would have otherwise received.
Weather report.
The Met Department has issued an advisory for strong winds and rough seas for the sea areas extending from Trikunamalaya to Pottuville via Kankasantare, Mannarama, Colombo, Gala and Hambantota. The Met Department said due to the active southwest monsoon conditions, wind speeds may increase up to 60 to 70 kilometers per hour at times in the sea areas off the coast extending from Hambantota to Pottuville and the sea areas off the coast extending from Puttalama to Trikunamalaya, Mannarama and Kankasantare. Wind speeds may increase up to 50 to 60 kilometers per hour at times in the sea areas off the coast extending from Puttalama to Hambantota via Colombo and Gala. Meanwhile, the naval and fishing communities who are engaged in fishing and naval activities in the sea area as mentioned are requested to be vigilant in this regard. That was the weather report, and now the headlines of this news broadcast once again. Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena plans to deploy 200 electric buses into operation in the Western Province. The Met Department has issued another advisory for heavy rain. The Sri Lanka Tourism Development Authority says tourist arrivals in Sri Lanka cross the 900,000 mark. The National Dengue Control Unit warns that the spread of dengue may further rise due to the prevailing showers. The world's largest shipping companies, Fast Shipping, agree to provide employment opportunities for young Sri Lankan sailors. The Israeli Prime Minister wants immediate deportation of Eritreans after Tel Aviv violence. That concludes this news broadcast.